Welcome back, family. LANCESCURV here. LANCESCURV of LANCESCURV.com. Check out all of the work that we've done over the last 22 and a half years on one site and just dig to your heart's content. You'll find just about everything there as we forge forward on a creative level. I have to say that I am in a creative boot camp right now where I'm dedicating more time than ever to creating things and expressions from the depths of my soul. And it feels real good. And for me, I think a lot. I would consider myself a master strategist. And I say that because I know what I've accomplished in my life as far as maximizing the efficiency in my life. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's in my, I have to say opinion, but many of us, our opinion are really our facts, our personal facts, but we can't push our opinions onto others in the world, but our opinions are our personal facts until proven otherwise. But for me, the way I look at it, okay, let's just say we have 24 hours in a day. I don't think there's anybody who would dispute that. I don't think there's anybody who would come against that. That being said, I ask, and we should all ask ourselves, out of the 24 hours that we have in a day, how much of those hours are we really and truly using in an efficient manner, right? So out of 24 hours, do we use 24 hours? Well, it doesn't mean that you have to push forward for 24 hours. You'd get no sleep. Sleep is part of the push forward. Sleep is part of the process. But many of us, I feel, waste the time in the day. We may get some things done, but we do have 24 hours, but we might get an hour and a half done worth of content. In my case, hours put in on the job or efficiency. You can put in hours on the job, but it doesn't mean you put in 8 hours. If you have 8 hours or maybe 12 hours on the job, you have to be efficient with that time. And most of us are not efficient when working for someone else. We're clock watchers most of the time, and we can't wait to go punch the clock and get out of there and just snatch a check. But for those of us who are truly concerned with extracting every bit of productivity out of our life, we want to remain focused and we don't want any distractions. When you're trying to get somewhere on time, you're not speeding, but you want to go at a good pace to get there at a good time. You don't make 50 million stops if you're traveling from state to state or country to country in a vehicle. You want to minimize that. You want to be more efficient with your time to get there on time. You don't want to waste time. And again, I always say time is an artificial construct on this level, but we have to jump to it because this is how the engineered world works. When you're out in nature, there is no time. To me, there's only sun up and sun down. And it's a gradual process because the sun doesn't just pop up out of nowhere, out of the darkness, or leave while it's bright. You can see the slow movement of the sun, and it gives you time to pace yourself. And so therefore, you don't have the anxieties. You don't get uptight as when you're working in the man-made engineered world. And many of us, and I would say like myself, I have a foot in both of those worlds until I get out of it completely and into nature's world, into the one that the Creator made for us, the one we're supposed to vibe with and align ourselves with. The man-made engineered world is just too abrupt. So therefore, I can tell you from experience, when I was in that world, it was a thing where I wanted to go into the timeless world of creativity. So I had to juggle and I had to balance. When it came time for me to be off from work, so-called, I was not thinking about work. I was not thinking about the job. I was not bringing home the frustrations that will naturally occur on a job when you're dealing with other people. But it was a harsh change because you just can't go from one to the other just in a split second. You have to wind down from it, and then you have to get into this creative zone, which sometimes can take a little time. But once you're there and flowing, There's no stopping you. So I had to balance between getting up and going to a job where I couldn't expect what was going to happen for the day. You know, driving a bus or working in the jail or working in a prison like I did, there's going to be unexpected things happening, right? So you have to put your creative desires on hold, and they tap you on the shoulder. Lance, when are you going to have a chance to, put your mind to me? When are you going to have a chance to spend time with what we know is in your soul? And it was torturous for me because I did all my jobs very efficiently, but I couldn't extract 24 hours out of a day to focus on my creative endeavors like I can now. This is a beautiful time for me. And of course, technically I may have to, spend an hour and a half and 2 hours or 3 hours to go into town to take care of some things and come back. But for the most part, once those things are taken care of and I'm locked in, I don't even have to come out. I can focus on what it is that I have to do, and I can still go out in nature and not have to deal with anyone. And I'm a people person. But when it comes time now, because I'm very extroverted when need be, and I'm very introverted, and that's where the creative juices start flowing. That's where the things manifest from inside of me, so that when I'm in the extroverted mode, I can talk about it. Hey, listen, this is what I was thinking about. This is what I did, whatever. But when I go within myself, great things are going to come out. So we have to learn how to be more efficient. Now, it may not be where you do the exact thing that I do, but what you can do to take from this is just think about how efficient you are with your time. You might be a person who's a hobbyist and you like to bake cakes, and you enjoy baking cakes for different organizations, different functions, different people, different families, or just to do it for yourself. So you learn how to mix the recipes that you either learn from someone else or you made up yourself. So you've mastered this, but you want to take your game higher. So what do? Do you go out and go party at the club all night long and think you're going to master baking cakes? No, you have to put time in. It's like when I do artwork and I do the detail in the artwork and I have my pen in my hand and I have it mastered down to the fact that when you continue to stroke the paper with your pen, because I have a very fine point pen to get that detail in, sometimes on that point of the pen, the ball point, ink will accumulate. And after a few light strokes on the paper, I say 5 or 6, because that's what it usually is. Very fine strokes. You see, not just writing anything on it just flat. No. But when you're barely taking the tip and a little bit of ink that's there and you're touching it to get more of a fine line than what the manufacturers of that pen anticipated, that's how I can work a pen, right? You just have to wipe off the excess that's about to drop after 5 or 6 different strokes. But many people don't know that. And I'm talking doing very light, barely touching that paper. See, I shade eyeballs when I draw pictures, right? I'll make it 3-dimensional on a strand of hair. My face is close to it so that when you pull back, you see more of the detail. And it gives a more detailed perspective and look on that picture. But that's what I've learned over years of doing this in time spent. So whatever it is that you do, you want to make sure that you're not wasting this artificial thing called time. Because time is more true to our souls out in nature, because you don't need a clock to feel the rhythm of nature. Nature has its own way of keeping time, and it's not called time the way we know it in the man-made engineered system. But you have a sense. The animals have a sense of being. You see, when you're in the place that doesn't honor time, because there's no plant that you will see grow that says, uh-oh, I'm 5 and 6 hours behind. I better hurry up and soak up more sun, and it better rain so I can grow faster. No, it takes its time in the process. But in the process, how efficient are you, since we are stuck right now, partially in this man-made world where we have to honor time? Don't waste it. Don't waste your state of being, if you want to speak on the nature level, right? There's a time and place for everything in the process. And in the process, you must know where you are. And you can't waste time. Nature is very efficient when you really look at it. Nothing goes to waste. Even you see an animal walk by the trunk of a tree and urinate or do a number 2. You say, oh, that's so nasty. I don't want to step in that. Of course you don't want to step in it. But you have to understand in the overall scheme of things how things work. There are nutrients in the waste. There's nitrogen in the waste that when it's placed at the root of the plant or the tree, it goes down into the soil and fortifies it and nourishes it and makes the tree grow better and stronger. So in nature, there is no waste. So how can you accept there being waste in your life? It's only because you're in the man-made engineered system. But if you get closer to nature and think natural thoughts, eat natural foods, live according to the sun and the rhythm of nature, nothing goes to waste and you have 100% efficiency. So now that I'm majority out of the system, because I'm still in it, you know what I mean? I still got to go to the store sometime and get things. And when I go to the store, I can't go there and say, hey, you say it's the equivalent of $100 here, or maybe 1,000 CDs or a little more. I'm in Ghana. You can't say, or I can't say, well, listen, I brought you 3 watermelons. Let me give you the equivalent of that. This is not about trade. They still honor money. So I still have to wait on that check to come in every month that I get from working all my life. You understand? So I'm still in that place, but my mind is not there anymore. And so this is what we have to do. We have to be able to take our mind out of that place and not let it rule over us and get the things that come with living in that man-made system. The anxiety, the tensions, the stress, all of these things that are not conducive to producing. Because when you produce out in nature and when you're in touch and connected to yourself, it's effortless. You flow. It's like when you were a young child and you learned how to ride a bike and you went down a slight grade, a slight hill, anything steep, but you stopped pedaling and you enjoyed the feeling of being weightless and the wind blowing in your hair. This is what it's like. But for me, I like to have myself to myself. See, to create, I don't need to get up around people. I don't need to get up around to find out where the latest party is, and we need to be social and go out and drink and go out and smoke and let's yabba, 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 run our mouths and and come home with a hangover and a head, a brain that's deficient of oxygen. You know what I mean? Wake up in the morning feeling rough. No, it has to be a constant. Because as much as we say that we're advanced in this so-called world with the technological advances, right? The bottom line is that we're the only ones who are having heart attacks. We're the only ones that are having nervous breakdowns. We're the only ones that are in a place of feeling protected in our homes, yet we're very paranoid because we think somebody's going to come and take away from us or just rob us and burglarize us, right? We go on the street, we say, oh, God, I hope I can come back alive. Well, some animals have to think that way because they're part of the food chain. But if you look at the animals out in what they call wild, they might be calling us wild because the bottom line is that they have a smooth coat, hair, they look healthy. When you see them sleeping, they're sleeping. It's usually great order in nature. But then we call that the wild. But then we're sitting here out of our minds, acting in a way that we weren't created to be. And we're shooting people. We're looking at people, envious of them, trying to steal from them, trying to badmouth them, not feeling good about ourselves, not liking ourselves, not loving ourselves, not being content in the skin that we're in, and damn sure not enjoying life. We go through the motions of acting like we're enjoying life by going on social media, and if we get a new vehicle, fine, you bought a new vehicle, but there's a destiny for that vehicle and there's a destiny for you. That vehicle 20 years from now or 25 years from now might be on the junk heap. You know what I mean? Of what value is it then? But what did you learn in that time? Have you gotten better? Were you more efficient with your time? We waste the time in our lives on foolish pursuits. We really do. And when we look back on it, for what? For what? What good did it do for us unless you're passing on some type of wisdom, right? I mean, look at it, 100 years from now. This is 2023. 100 years from now, it'll be 2123. In 2123, how many people are going to remember you? In 2123, how many of us will be alive? Well, if you have a child near you that may be 2 years old, and if they live to 102, they'll be alive at 102. Would they remember you? Right? They won't remember you. We take pictures, we take videos, and hopefully these things can be preserved, but a lot of them are going to be destroyed. What happens if a nuclear war happened and a nuclear bomb was dropped on where the servers of the YouTube videos was stored? Then it's gone. And things fade away anyway. How many people in your inner circle will be alive at that time? None. Maybe. I don't know. If you're 20 years old, in 120 years from now, you're still alive, you're 120, but how much will you remember then? And will it really matter? All I'm saying is that look at what we're doing now in this society. We're wasting time on something that won't last. We're taking selfies. We're doing videos. We're trying to get popular. We want more followers. We want more subscribers. We want all these things, but then to what end? We can make a little money online, sure. But is this something that you're really doing because it's going to last? Or is it something that either you're doing for money or quick attention that won't matter 100 years from now? You see, we have to be very careful on what we think we want, because what we think we want may not be what we really, really want. And what we want, is it going to last? Is it going to leave a profound effect on humanity? Will they quote our names and say, oh, the great LANCESCURV or LANCESCURV said this or said that? I don't think so. And I'm okay with that, because this is a journey. This is a journey that I'm now enjoying more than I ever have before, now that I'm having access to full nature. It doesn't matter if I don't have $1 million in the bank. It doesn't matter if I don't have 1 million subscribers or 2 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm vibing with the people in my inner circle. And my circle, thank the Creator, is getting smaller and smaller every single day. It's like the process of elimination. Why have so many people click a button to follow you, or click a button to say they like you and you don't even know them? And most with us, we'll never know all of them. We won't even know half of them. And maybe we'll know 25% by name because we accumulate acquaintances as we go along. But how many are we truly connected to? So in your pursuit of these online platforms, just deal with the real. When you deal with the real, it's like a sharpened blade that cuts through anything. But if that blade is blunt because it's wider and not sharpened, it's not going to cut through as efficient as it should. Many years ago, when I started to accumulate more of a following on social media, all that came out of it was chaos. All that came out of it was backstabbing, people whispering and trying to speculate what your business is. And I'm like, wait a second. This wasn't supposed to be this way. You give of yourself, you give of your time, the artificial construct. And then you come to a point in your life, you say, man, for all the time that I spent, yes, there was good stuff put out there and people enjoyed it. And I'm glad that they did, but let me be centered and let me enjoy it more while I do it. Let it come from within, not on an external schedule. And I'm not looking sideways to see what anybody else is doing, because they have their own way of expressing themselves. But the main thing is that I'm more efficient with the use of time so that my efforts won't drain me, won't overextend me. And I'm here fresh after all these years of being on social media. I'm just as fresh as a person who came here for the first time. So I feel good. And this is why I'm in this creative boot camp, because I can create things unrushed, stuff that will stand the test of time, even if they don't know who I am. Because I've read several books of authors who were alive 200 and 300 years ago, but their words and the truth that they spoke remained. I think that's wonderful. I think that's a beautiful thing. I don't want to be a person who's here today and gone tomorrow. That's not going to work. I want what I do to last. I just don't want to get to the front of the line and show my face, and what I did, nobody remembers. And a lot of us are going down that road. A lot of us spend a lot of time, perfecting and removing pimples on their face and changing the color of their skin and editing. And I know the whole thing because I've done that, but it wasn't from the purpose of wanting to rule the world or be the next big thing. Because I know as an artist growing up, when I went to PS 121 in Queens, right there on 109th Avenue and 127th Street. Then I went to Virgil Grissom Middle School, Junior High School, right there on Rockaway Boulevard, a couple of blocks down from Lefferts Boulevard. Then I went to the High School of Art and Design on 57th Street and 2nd Avenue. And in every one of those experiences in those schools, I was also accepted to music and art, but I didn't want to go to a place that was half focused on art. I wanted to go somewhere where it was full, right? And even then, when I went to the High School of Art and Design, I really didn't enjoy myself all the way, because I'm thinking I'm creative and we're all creative, which the students were cool, but it was the curriculum pushed on you and how some of them made you feel that, oh, this is a wrong way and a right way. As long as you get to the point of what you want to show visually, there is no wrong and right way. See? So that's why I listen to my heart more so than ever before. But in all those schools, we had times where artists would get together. And I remember in junior high school, 226, that's what it was called, Virgil Grissom, 226. They would have a bunch of us from different classrooms get together, maybe 7 or 8 of us, to create murals, to do drawings, but we had to be up on our scholastic, activities. We had to have our scores kept up, our grades. So those of us who had good grades, we can afford to lose a little time away from the classroom as long as we were committed to studying outside and keeping up with what the classroom was doing. It was the most enjoyable time of my life to do that. The different times that I was around other creatives, because they understood. We would sit around and draw our own pictures, and then we'd look and compare. We didn't try to copy each other, but we learned from each other by the approaches that each artist had. And we were quiet. Maybe you'd talk a little bit, or a little music playing. Somebody might crack a joke or let one loose and break a fart. You know what I mean? And we all would laugh. There was no tension, but it broke the concentration in a funny way, and then we would get back to doing what we're doing. I love that kind of camaraderie. I miss that so much. And so I will find that I have found many other artists here in Ghana, and I'd like to team up with them when we have a time where we can get together and create around the people who understand what it's like to be a creative person. To me, that's maximum usage of one's time, because the energy there is not set on the man-made time. And the times that I've done that, other places where I lived, we would get together sometimes 12 noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and look around. And we sat and created and compared and shared techniques, and we had food where we were. We might have a couple of pizzas there or some Chinese food. Yes, I ate regular food sometime for a time. And I'm not going to be so strict with myself for the rest of my life. I'm going to enjoy and eat what I want to eat. But we look around and it's daybreak. Daybreak. But you know what? We used our time so well, and it was a true fellowship. It wasn't like the people that you don't know in a nightclub or some party and they're looking at you funny. We had a true love for our craft and innocent in our souls, because that's what it was that we wanted to do to the utmost all day, every day. So that's where I am right now as a creative, not just a YouTuber. I do YouTube, and I'm always going to do YouTube, and sometimes I'll do it more than others, but we have our brothers and sisters who come on that I showcase, and because I do have a little bit of a following, we'll continue on with that. But for me, I'm really enjoying myself, and I want to share what I do with the world, not in a narcissistic look at me kind of manner, but just from my heart, because that's what I'm all about. Yeah, I experienced a full range of emotions. I could be a monster to certain people if you step on my foot the wrong way, and not really step on my toes, but when you cross me. So these people you have to stay around when you want to keep the creative flow going. You want to be on a steady. So as I speak right now, I'm looking out my window into the yard. I see all of nature out there, and I want to go out there so bad. And I'm going to let the trees talk to me. I'm going to let the sun talk to me. I'm going to let nature just envelop me and instruct me on what I need to do next. I'm not sitting in a traffic jam on my way to work, rushing somewhere, frustrated, watching the clock, and all I have is 4 minutes to go, but I'm 10 minutes late. 4 minutes to go, but you're 10. That kind of thing I don't need in my life. So people say, well, Lance, you live in such a different way than when you were in your 20s. Well, of course, I'm 60. I'm not 20 anymore. I don't have anything to prove. You know, look at that young girl looking at you. Look, I ain't the man I used to be. I'm not trying to even compete with that. She can go find that somewhere else. I'm not trying to be acrobatic to prove what. That's for people who are insecure and stuck in the past. Let me be who I am now. Let me vibrate to the fullest. Let me create from what I see now, because I have a whole lot more wisdom than I had before. I just want to make maximum use of my time, because I've been on this earth for quite a while. And as each clock, meaning the man-made clock and the nature clock, ticks, it means that my time on this level is coming to transition. And before that happens, I have a work to do. And it's from that I spoke these words about making maximum usage of your time. You have no divine time to waste. You're here to complete something, a task or mission, large or small. Don't waste it. And it is just as important as the next individuals, whether their name is up in lights or yours is not seen by anyone. It doesn't mean that it's less, because everything is interlocking. Everything fits with everything else. So like they say in 6 degrees of separation, we're all connected. It's all quantum. You see, what happens in one part of the world affects the other, but we think it's separate. When we get sick or ailing, it's not just the body that's ailing. If you feel pain in your knee or your back, there's a spiritual element to you not feeling well. There's an emotional element to you not feeling well. There's a mental element to you not feeling well. And you have to understand, when you see people that are perpetually angry or just evil, narcissistic, just don't want to see the next person do well, you're calling down an ailment on yourself. Now, we know we have environmental things that happen to us, right, that we have no control over. So you can be a very good person, right, and still fall ill. But why bring it down on yourself by carrying these resentments and these venoms and these unhealed state of minds that we have? Because it's going to manifest in the physical. See, you can hide emotional sickness. You can put on a smile when you're angry or when you're sad. But when you let that thing permeate down to every part of your being, it's going to make those parts sick, and you can't deny that. And you just can't treat those types of sicknesses with a little medicine, a pill. Because the emotional sickness, spiritual sickness, mental sickness that manifests in the physical, trust me, there's no pill that can take care of that. You have to heal. You have to face the things that you have inside of you that have helped to jack up different parts of your life, to ruin different aspects of your life. No matter how much you're in denial about it, you're going to have to face it sooner or later. So that is also part of using your time very efficiently, because if you're not right with yourself, you want to take that long road trip, but your wheels are not aligned, you might as well, you tuned up the engine, but you didn't align the tires. So everything is not working in sync as it should. When you're mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically in sync, you will go farther. And even as you move through the earth and accomplish things, you have to keep yourself tuned up. You have to reflect. You have to look within. You have to ask yourself, is everything all right? That's how we do it. You see? So I know I was a little bit all over the place, but I just wanted to share those things and share those words. I'm going to come back with some stuff later on. I'm doing some other things, and I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. But right now, I'm going to rinse off, change my clothes, Maybe I'll go back there naked. I don't know. I want to. That's the best way. You get the full sunlight on there. I can't say for me where the sun don't shine. The sun knows every part of me, but that might be too much information. But just know that I love you all. I love vibing. I love the comments, and I love the replies, the questions, and different stuff. That's how we grow. I learned so much from all of you. I'm not the one who's trying to be the guru and the all-seeing, all-knowing. I just come out here as a regular guy to share what's on my mind. When I get the feedback, you all teach me so much, and I want to say because of that, I am so thankful, and that's why I continue to do the things that I do here on social media. But there's so much to talk about, so let's continue the conversation. Leave your comments, and I will see you on the next one. Just want to say much love to my brothers, much love to my sisters, and like, share, and subscribe. Make sure always, no matter where you are, if you don't see the content, go to LANCESCURV.com. That's where everything is, and will continue until the divine time comes to transition and even beyond. Much love to you all. LANCESCURV out. Peace.